member for the New York State Senate. He was a city councilman for 10 years. He was a county legislature representative for 2 years. He's been mayor of Schenectady for 7 years. He's going to talk to us about the U.S. Conference of Mayors Water Council and some of the challenges in water infrastructure reconstruction from the point of view of the municipal sector. Mayor Stratton?
Thank you very much, Bruce. Good morning. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here with you today to share some information on the water resource challenges of America's principal cities. And I sincerely appreciate being invited to make these remarks as the co-chair of the Mayor's Water Council of the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And it's not just because we're here in a beautiful place. I would have eagerly agreed to go to, say, Cleveland in January. I think when the auditors get done looking at my travel report and receipts, I probably will wish that it was Cleveland in January. So, I hope there's no one from Cleveland here, with all due respect. I especially want to thank Uni-Bell for their past and current support of the Mayor's Water Council. It is the participation of Uni-Bell and the many organizations that work with the Mayor's Council that enriches the dialogue and active exchange of ideas among our cities and public engineers and public works providers. And it brings creative thinking to our problem sets and the many challenges that we as mayors face in management and policy. So on behalf of the mayors and the mayors, the affiliate members, the supporters, and the participants in the Mayor's Water Council, I want to thank you for your support. And I just want to begin my remarks by restating the purpose of why I'm here and make sure that there's no conflict of interest. I'm here today to represent the U.S. Conference of Mayors and the Water Council as its co-chair, and not my city of Schenectady or any other individual city or special interest. My colleague, Jennifer Hosterman, who is the mayor of Pleasanton, California, is my co-chair, and likewise, I'm not here to represent or promote her city, although she's another one of those mayors that lives and has the opportunity to govern in a beautiful place. Not that Schenectady is not beautiful. So together, Mayor Hosterman and I preside over the various activities of the Mayor's Water Council. And it is in that context that I'd like to speak to you this morning about some of the most pressing water and infrastructure challenges that are faced by cities across our nation. It is important to note that the Mayor's Water Council does not endorse any particular product or service provider. But what we do, and what we can do, is provide information on innovative and emerging technology that mayors should consider when making critical decisions about water resource management and capital investment. And a few words about the larger organization that I'm speaking on. As I've said, the Mayor's Water Council is part of the United States Conference of Mayors, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that was founded in the 1930s. It began when a group of big city mayors met with President Franklin Roosevelt in the White House to the ways to explore to put Americans back to work to end the Great Depression. And it's interesting to note that one of the outcomes of those meetings was the first ever grant of $300 million, I guess would be in the billions in today's dollars, from the Roosevelt administration to help cities combat hunger, homelessness, and unemployment. I think we could use the same amount of money today. I could use it in Schenectady. So since then, the Conference of Mayors has grown to represent more than 1,200 cities, half of which are cities of more than 30,000 in population. And since then, the Conference of Mayors has worked with every president and with every Congress in a nonpartisan way to improve the economy and conditions in our cities. So what began more than 75 years ago with President Roosevelt in an effort to combat the Great Depression continues today with President Obama and the Congress as we move to stem the loss of jobs in our country and combat the Great Recession. And while the Conference of Mayors has achieved remarkable success over 78 years, the challenges are so great and so daunting that mayors must remaining steadily engaged in forging national policies. So the Conference of Mayors helps mayors do that through a series of standing committees, task forces, and councils. And one of those councils is the Mayor's Water Council, which provides a forum for discussion of issues impacting how cities provide safe, affordable, and adequate water and wastewater into the 21st century. Mayor Hosterman and I, along with our fellow mayors and affiliate members, implement this forum through meetings, survey research, policy analysis, and by sharing best practices. This year, we will hold no fewer than 5 meetings across the country to make sure we get input from mayors in every region of the United States. And I would be remiss if I did not pause here to tell you that we will be hosting our next meeting in my city, May 12th and 13th in Schenectady, New York. It's a regional water summit, and we will welcome mayors from New York State and the Northeast and other parts of the country, along with several members of the Water Council, to discuss our challenges. And I know that our previous speaker spoke about a conference in Seattle. At the same time, believe me, you'd much rather come to Schenectady at that time. Schenectady is a city of about 62,000 residents in upstate New York, very close to the capital of Albany, part of the Albany-Schenectady-Troy metropolitan metro area. It's the birthplace of the General Electric Company, and once where every steam and diesel locomotive was manufactured by the American Locomotive Company. And at that time, in the early 1900s, our city was called the city that lights and hauls the world. And today, while the locomotive company is long gone, GE is still very much a part of our economy. And in fact, it is the headquarters for GE Energy and Water and the GE Renewable Energy Division, where the company monitors nearly 15,000 wind turbines across the country and in Canada, right from Schenectady. And soon, the company, GE, will manufacture hybrid batteries for locomotives and other purposes in Schenectady. And our conference will begin with a tour and presentation by the CEO of GE Energy and Water at their new renewable energy headquarters on the Schenectady campus. So if you'd like to come to that, there is a non-member pay-to-attend fee, and Uni-Bell is a member. I think you get 2 complimentary registrations, and I think Bruce is going to be raffling those off at the end of the conference. The Mayor's Water Council regularly publishes articles in the conference's chief publication, U.S. Mayor Magazine. It's published every 2 weeks, and it goes to every mayor, the White House, every cabinet secretary, members of Congress, governments, and many more. We also produce the Mayor's Water Council newsletter, and had a copy of it. You can't find it. But Bruce Hollins is going to be drafting an article for our next issue, so you won't want to miss that, and we'll make sure that you get a copy. Now let me comment on some of the operational drivers that guide the Mayor's Water Council. The roughly 600 member mayors of the conference serve as the body of whole, and collectively they develop and discuss and adopt policy for the organization through the recommendations of the standing committees. And within the conference, the Mayor's Water Council is charged with looking at water resources issues in depth, making policy recommendations to the conference's Environment Committee. The Mayor's Water Council was established in 1995 because, 1, the number of policy issues and huge financial implications of water and wastewater related issues demanded special attention. 2, because the modes of response to these issues were no longer sufficient in and of themselves, and some fresh thinking was needed. And 3, while city commitments to achieving the goals of the Clean Water Act and the Safe Drinking Water Act were not at all in question, the means to accomplish them were of a concern because of the huge costs that were involved. So mayors are entrusted to guide their cities along with our city councils, and it is always prudent to employ due diligence when making decisions about how taxpayer or ratepayer money will be used. The traditional due diligence approach for major capital investment in water and wastewater is the DBD method: design, bid, and build. And then the public entity assumes control of the system. But the cost of doing business in this way of mushroom, due to the extensive RFP process, the financial interest of designers, the almost certain potential for litigation between designers and construction firms, and the time value of money over the project period. Now you add in the challenge of settlement